I
Hey,
love the
everybody.
laughing.
Do you like that?
I love the laughing.
Infectious, Deanna.
I know.
Oh my
But you know
goodness.
what's funny is I had that recorded probably like 3 years ago. I think it's been 3 years ago. And I was in the studio recording it with Jerry B, who is absolutely amazing. And he kept telling me at the time, that's when I had Sassy Girl Media. So I kept saying Sassy Girl. He's like, say Sassy Girl. I said Sassy Girl at least 500 times in all different ways, right?
Mm,
Like, and I kept cracking up laughing because it just sounded
wow.
so funny and I couldn't stop laughing. And he's like, we need to put your laugh in that clip. So at first I was like, oh, I hate it because my laugh is just kind of, you know,
It's cute.
sometimes obnoxious, but I don't mean it to be. But he's like, no, you got to keep it. So I kept it, and it's kind of funny now. So anyhow, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Talk. I am so excited to be here. Was not here last Tuesday. I debated it, but I had been traveling for a couple weeks, and I was just overwhelmed and exhausted, and I made the decision to not do it, but I am here and I'm energized and I've got my two girls with me. I've got Edie and Kelly. How are you guys?
Hey, good,
Good
good, good.
morning.
Good
Do you
morning.
guys want to give a quick intro of who you are for anybody who might be turning in that has not ever met you or know anything about you?
Cool.
Edie, go ahead, Edie.
Okay, excellent. Hi, everyone. My name is Edie Clarke. I'm a remote video creator and YouTube channel manager, and I work with entrepreneurs who are struggling with visibility. They're established in what they do. They're ensconced in their genius zone, but they just don't really know what to do when it comes to creating videos, particularly for YouTube, in order to market their services. And that's where my company comes in. They'll outsource their services to me, and I will help them gain visibility in their business.
Very cool.
Awesome.
I'm Kelly O'Leary. I'm with the DeLand Area Chamber of Commerce here in Florida, and born and raised in DeLand. And so I'm very excited about helping local businesses and community kind of all come together and work together and helping them to learn things. And certainly social media is one of those things that's forefront on everybody's minds now because of the things that we went through recently. And so it's definitely been a big shift in business, especially the retail part of it that I see.
Yes. I am so excited you both are on here because you are both rock stars in my mind.
Oh,
As you know, I just adore you. Edie is just like the video queen,
thank
everything
you.
video
Thank
queen.
you.
And Kelly, and I've said this a million times, but moving to DeLand, which is a small town, and it's a beautiful town for anybody who's not visited, I encourage you to come check out DeLand, Florida. But coming and moving in, you just don't know where you fit in. And
Mhm.
Kelly was just like, come here, girl, I got you.
That's
You
good.
know, and it's awesome. It feels really, really good to feel welcome like that. And
Mhm.
what Kelly is doing with the chamber and the chamber itself here in DeLand is just awesome to see the
Thank
way that
you.
the community involved and everything they do to help with businesses is pretty cool. So I'm stoked to have both of you on. Now, as you know, this nothing is scripted when we come on Tuesdays, and I think I threw Kelly for a loop. She's like, "Well, I'm not prepared." I'm like, "We're never prepared. There's no conversation that happens." I'm like, we just hop on and just start talking like it's girl chat, and we're sitting with friends, and wherever the conversation goes, it goes. Yes, I've got mine too. Wherever it goes, it
Have
goes, and
water.
yeah. But I did want to talk about because Edie, I know you and I are kind of dealing with this right now. You were gone traveling for 2 weeks, speaking at a conference in Texas, and then the third week I decided not to do this. I was also traveling, speaking speaking in Columbus, Ohio, and then visiting Montana, and when you it's great to go away, right? It's really cool to be able to get away, and even if you're taking a vacation from your job, but when you come back, it's like, do you guys feel like a little unorganized too? Like, try to get your groove back?
Yeah, well, ordinarily, I have to say, in the past, it would take me easily, because I came back midweek. So I drove back on Wednesday. And so technically I had Thursday and Friday. And before I left, I kind of sort of booked those 2 days with calls and things that I needed to do, and kind of regretted it when I was away, saying, oh, why did I do this? But when I came back, I think that Thursday, I had probably 3 calls scheduled and like 2 of them canceled or rescheduled for later the following week or what have you. So that kind of gave me a little bit of breathing room. But I have to say, normally when I do travel like that and I come back midweek, I am flustered to the point where I actually don't do anything for those 2 days. And I might as well have just, stayed out the whole week.
Yeah.
But this time, I don't know why, but I was like invigorated, I think, because we drove. I didn't fly anywhere. So I wasn't like, oh God, exhausted in that capacity. Yeah, driving can be tedious, although I wasn't the one driving.
Your husband, but
But it was a much more calm and relaxing trip. So by the time I came back, I was raring to go. So Thursday and Friday, even into the weekend, was very, very productive for me. So that's an unusual thing. That does not normally happen, but it did this time.
yeah.
That's
How about
great.
you, Kelly? Do you have any tips? Like, you do anything to kind of prepare before you go on vacation?
No, I am the wing it girl. It's
Yeah.
throw the bag together, at the last minute. Literally, Seamus and I my son and I did a weekend getaway just to Orlando, Hollywood Studios. And we were packing that morning and kind of just going, as you said this morning, unscripted. Like, let's just go, let's get there, let's have a good time, no plans, no nothing. And it was the best kind of thing. That's what I love to do, is just spontaneous.
Yeah.
So with work, it's a little bit different. You got to have some structure in place when you get back. And some days my desk is nice and neat and tidy when I come back, and other times there's piles everywhere. And I am my father's child. I know what's in my stacks. Don't mess with my
what's
stacks.
funny? That you just said that. I just read something. I think it was an email list that I'm on, and it was talking about getting organized, but then it also talked about like the people who enjoy clutter, and I'm not saying that you're cluttered, but the stacks, they say, it said that some people like will argue with you that they would rather be like have their desk cluttered than organized, because they know exactly where everything is and they can easily grab it, then go to a file and look it up. Are you guys, which way are you? I'm organized. Like, I put them in files. Are you a combo?
Yes. I'm organized for the most part. I have cluttered days. But for the most part, everything has its place. Everything's in a file folder. The file folders may be stacked somewhere, but everything is organized in that respect. Yeah.
No, and that's me as well. I'll have the file folders and things like that. But on a day where I'm in the office and I'm doing administrative work and I'm doing membership things and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, I find that my desk is crazy. And the ladies, when they come in the next day, they're like, "Oh, your desk is clean. What happened?" Like, I had 15 minutes.
But that has to be like a sense of accomplishment, though, when you get through everything.
Oh, totally.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been trying out the 4-day work week, and I'm like week 3 in, and I have to admit, I love it. I know, Kelly, you probably, I don't know, can you try that? Are you allowed to try that? What will Janet say?
It might be a good idea to offer that for like the summer and go, hey, because with me, getting my son to school and stuff, it's a little harder and picking him up. But during the summertime, that might be a good idea.
I feel more productive. Have you ever tried it, Edie?
I have tried it. I, in theory, still have it going on because no one can book a call with me on Wednesdays, because that's my official sort of day off. But I have to say, of late, I have not been practicing it as much in terms of, I don't have any calls with clients, but I'll still end up doing stuff, at my desk or what have you. But I think I've created some other methods in my life that have provided me with the calm that I need. So I don't think I'm relying on that day off as much. I certainly, before early in my business, I was working 7 days a week, like I think pretty much everybody
Yeah.
probably does. And then I have gone through periods where I'm like, I'm not doing anything on the weekends at all. I have to have the weekends off. And then I find that I'm into a lot of different things. I have obviously my day-to-day business, which is Virtually in Sync / Tamarind Tree Productions. And then I have other interests that I'm in where it's more creative, because I have some projects that I've had. I think I may have talked to you about this, Deanna, a while back, but I have some creative projects that I've been wanting to work on for the past, God only knows how many years. One is an animated movie, and then there's some other ideas that I have for sort of TV type shows. So I try to incorporate that into my weeks as well. And usually that'll fall on like a Saturday. And then also I am practicing swing trading, which is basically not day trading. It's in the stock market. And it's just, you don't let it sit for as long as you would a long-term investment. You would probably, buy it and sell it within a week or a few weeks. So I'm in the process of learning that as well. So I tend to do that on the weekends and sometimes during the week as well. So my days are like mixed with a lot of different types of things. So I think that breaks it up for me. So I don't feel like I absolutely have to take a day off, because I'm not always working in my regular business.
I get it. I get it. How about you, Kelly? I mean, I know you're kind of limited because you've got so many events going on.
Right. With the chamber, it's a Monday through Friday gig. But then I sit on a couple of boards, and with those boards comes volunteer times or events that do fall on the weekends and things like that. So I wear multiple hats in the community here, and certainly love doing it. So each night I found myself lately where each night I have something, whether it's work related or it correlates to work or whatever. And my child's like, Mom, are you ever going to be home? I'm like, no, but you're old enough to handle yourself now, so it's okay.
It is hard. It really is. And I've actually, I was a little hesitant when I did this 4-day work week. I'm like, okay, I want to get really laser focused on how I'm going to set it up. So from 9 to 12 is the only time that I will book appointments right now to meet with somebody. And then from 1 to 4, I am focused in on what I need to do for clients. And then I take Friday off. Now, Friday, like you, Edie, right? I love what I do. And my stuff goes on the back burner. So if I get to work on my stuff on Fridays for the weekend, like, it's not work. It's like,
right.
It's like, oh, this is so much fun. This is so much fun. Hey, we've got a couple people in here. Sama, hi, how are you? We've got Matt Maniscalco, who he is from DeLand also. So, hey, Matt. So I really have tried, and I was really nervous because at first I was thinking, if I only take appointments from 9 to 12, I'm going to get people upset with me because I don't have all this availability, right? Because no, you're right. I don't know what I was worried about.
You create demand, Deanna.
Yeah, exactly.
You create demand, and they're going to schedule with you.
Yeah.
Yes, but I always, I'm a people pleaser. I'm a people pleaser. So if someone says, well, can I meet with you at 2? Normally I'm like, and there's nothing scheduled on the books, I'll say, sure, I can meet with you at 2, right? But then what happens is that I start working on a project, and then I have to stop, and then I have my meeting, which I'm grateful for, and then I have to stop, and then I have to try to get back into that zone, and it's hard to keep shifting gears like that.
Yeah.
So when somebody said that, I'm like, you know what? I'm not available at 2, but here are the times that I'm available for the rest of the week. And it has not been a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish I could do that. And with being here at the chamber offices, like matter of fact, fortunately I'm kind of in a little office myself, and so I can close the doors, but I just heard our doorbell ring, which means there's a guest that came in, is probably looking for information. And so, yes, those things I'm happy to help them, happy to do. And of course, I love talking about my community and the businesses here. So it's great for me. But at the same time, like you said, you stop something and then you come back to your desk and it's like, oh, wait, I've got this task over here. Oh, wait, no, I was doing this. Oh, wait, where do I go?
Yeah.
How do you stay focused on trying to do that? I mean,
I really, for the most part, I do try to stick with projects, but there are occasions, like yesterday was a perfect example where I came in, I don't have my to-do list in front of me, but it's long. And it's long because sometimes I'll go through the process of, oh, okay, well, you're supposed to only try to do 3 things in a day. But I just sort of dump everything because I want to remember that there are all these different things that I need to do. And for my business, it varies from I have to do consultation calls to I have to do just networking calls to I actually have to have a client call to I'm doing some sort of a project for a client. Sometimes I'm editing, sometimes I hand it off to a team member. And yesterday, I wanted to really get focused on updating some of my marketing things that I do. Normally, it's, it might be like I've gotten a bunch of testimonials. Let me set those up so I can hand them off to get them done for uploading to my social media platforms. And I got so engrossed in I decided that recently I've decided I'm going to do officially free YouTube audits, which last like maybe 8 to 9 minutes per. And I wanted to come up with a little message that I would be putting in the message for LinkedIn when I was sending them the YouTube audit. And then I was like, well, wouldn't it be nice if I said, oh, you could join my email list? And I'm like, okay, do I have a form for that? No, I don't. Okay, let me. And so that just spiraled into a bunch of other things, which took me away from what my initial mission was. So I usually sabotage myself. It's very rare that somebody else will, cause me to get off track because I have very strict times for my my meetings, whether they're networking, client calls, or what have you. So it's very rare that I will get sidetracked with a client call or a consultation. I'm usually the one that sidetracks myself.
That's me.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that too. But I did incorporate with my email because email will suck the life out of you.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
People email and then because there's this sense of urgency, like I need to respond to them right away and I need to get back to them right away. And there are some times when you need to respond right away, right? If you're working on something and there's a deadline, but the majority of them don't. And in my email signature, I actually will say, that I check my emails 3 times a day. At 7 a.m., at 11 a.m., and then at 4 p.m. or 3 p.m., I think. Now, do I check it in between? I do. But what that does is that it lets them know, like, this is when I'm going to check my email. So I had somebody actually say to me, they're like, when I saw that at first, I was like, I wonder how that works, because I don't know if people will be turned off by that. And I go, well, how did you feel when you read it? And they're like, well, I knew what to expect from you. I'm like, well, that was my goal. I just set the expectation that I may not respond right away.
Right.
Just give me some time. But here are the times that I'm going to check my email.
Right.
And so far, the feedback's been really positive about that. And I've done that for quite some time. But
I've never thought to do that. I've seen it. And it's not usually in the signature. It's when you send the email, it's an autoresponder that will say, I only check whatever. And I've never really, obviously I think I would feel a certain way if it's, something's wrong with my computer and I'm trying to get, that's going to bother me.
Absolutely. Website's down. There's like immediate. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. But otherwise I've just never thought of it in any way, shape, or form. And it's not something that I've incorporated because I actually kind of feel bad on my end now because I don't check my email that often. If I'm lucky, I check it once a day.
Really?
And I know that's wacky, but it depends on what's going on in my day. What I do try to do is I try to check it either before I come to my desk or the first thing when I come to my desk in the morning. And then I usually don't look at it again until literally like maybe right before I'm about to finish, because I'm in the interim, I'm doing stuff. So, and I think my clients know that if they, it more often than not, there's nothing that's a super emergency that they need to get a hold of me and I need to respond within, an hour or even a couple of hours. So I don't put that expectancy out there. I don't say I check it because I don't want to say a time that I'm like, I may or may not. So I just don't want to put that commitment out there.
Yeah.
So I just don't say anything at all. And
I
nobody
think it's so funny because like you see it as a commitment and I see it as a boundary. But
right.
How in the world do you only check your email once a day?
Why? Because it's exactly what you said. You said that it's a time suck.
It is a time suck, but I can't help myself.
I cannot allow that, especially if I'm in a zone and I know I need to get certain things done, like particularly if I have to, I have a project that I'm going to actually be editing. I'm not sending it out to my team. And so do not expect me to, for the day that I'm going to be really engrossed in doing that, I'm not going to be checking email at all because I wouldn't get anything done. So for me, I just don't see the need for me to respond immediately. It's not even for me to respond. There is nothing that I do that would require me to immediately respond to anyone's email.
Gosh, you're so right. I'm Kelly, are you more like me or more like her?
No, because again, it depends on my day. If I'm in the office, yes, I'm checking email as I'm doing, like, especially Mondays are kind of our administrative days, and then Fridays too are follow-up stuff. And so those days, yes, I'm pretty much on email all day long. But on those days where I'm scheduling appointments or we've got committee meetings or whatever, I'm not even looking at it. And the one thing I was going to ask you ladies, I don't look at my work email on the weekends. It is not attached to my phone. So only my personal email goes to my phone. My work email stays on my work computer and my work computer stays at work.
Right.
I mean, I know maybe it's a little different.
I will check. I will check occasionally. Again, there's no rhyme or reason. There's I probably never check on a Sunday, but on Saturdays, I will check if I'm in the mood or I just happen, whatever. But yeah, I will do it on the weekend.
I try not to check on the weekends. And there are times that I do, like, I wish I could take it off my phone, but my only fear is somebody's website being down and they're messaging me instead of calling me for whatever reason, right? Because I do prefer email and people know I prefer email. It's just more efficient. I'm going to respond to you. It's, there's usually nothing that requires a full discussion. Sometimes it does. If there's confusion, then you've got to make sense. But if it's a task, then I prefer email to interact with my clients. But if a website's down, I would expect a phone call. But so that's the only reason I do. Luckily, and I hope I'm not jinxing myself, that typically doesn't happen. But my fear is the one time I don't check it, then something like crazy is going to be happening for a client. So.
Well, and that's a little different for you all as being the entrepreneurs that you are, owning your own businesses. You do need to be a little more connected to it than myself, where, granted, most of my business is a Monday through Friday. So on the weekends, I expect my clients are not necessarily emailing me anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not that sense of urgency.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still hung up on Edie's one time. I am like,
Like there's
man,
literally
I've been
there's
a
no
slave to
rhyme
my
or reason.
email. I'm
Yeah,
so envious.
yeah. It's just it's so infrequent. You know, there might be a day where I might check it multiple times.
Yeah,
You know, it just
for
there's
whatever reason.
no, especially if there's something that I know I need to get back from a client, then obviously I'm going to be checking it
Mhm.
a bit more frequently. But if I know that there's nothing pending and I'm working on a number of projects, or it might be a day where I have back-to-back calls, then I know that checking emails and going down that rabbit hole is not going to be helpful to me. So I will just literally, it's not even a conscious thing of I'm saying, oh, okay, well, I'll check it at 4 or I'll check it right before no, I just do what I have to do. And then there have been days where I've sat at my desk and said, oh my God, I forgot to check the email today. And it was like 6, 7 o'clock at night.
That's
See,
never happened to me.
Deanna, I'm envious of you that you time block. I have bought, I can't tell, I'm a calendar girl, and I have bought several different types of calendars. I even bought one that I could tape up on my desktop over here and try and time block things. But in the job that I do, I time block, but it doesn't stick.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yours is a little bit unique. I mean, you are in a different situation than I am or Edie, because
right.
you know, the chamber is having different events at different times, and you're working around, I'm guessing you're working around the businesses, like with ribbon cuttings,
Their schedules and
things,
things.
right?
What
You
you
can
need,
definitely
me.
plan like the regular ongoing events and time block around that. But when it comes to ribbon cuttings or anything that's happening on the fly, you're working around the clients. But I love time blocking. I feel it is such a game changer when it comes to me being productive. If I can stay in the zone and focus, I will get through so much more than when I chop my day up and try to schedule appointments or meetings at different times of the day. Then I'm not nearly as productive as I can be. And that's what works for me. Everybody might be different, but that has definitely, I'm all about it. And I went from a hard copy planner, which I've always had, and actually Wayne Carter, who's with Main Street, he introduced me because I have a tablet, right? So I've got my tablet here, and he uses an app to stay organized, and he writes on it, and I'm like, and it's his journal. So I found one, and I can't remember the name of it, and I've been using it, and it is, what is it called? I don't even know.
Yeah, considering you use it.
It's a big pencil. It's a pencil, right? I can put like my day planner in it. It's kind of shifting, but then all these little color blocks, these
Right.
are like clients or where the organizations where I'm on the board, or my personal notes. So I can take notes from my clients and put them
Right.
all in one place.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. I am like, Wayne, thank you. I will never go back to.
Well, we use the Google Calendar here at work, so all of us have access to it. And so Janet and Kitty and I and Sam and Terry all have it on our phones too, that we're able to take a look at things and see, like, if Janet's not here, wait, where was she supposed to be this morning? And we look, oh, okay, she had this meeting this morning. Or they can look and see where I'm at if I'm not in the office. And it's super beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Diane. Hello, Diane.
Yes, Diane, time blocks too. Time blocking works as a professor doing tons of grading for writing intensive classes. Oh, yes. And great point.
Yeah, I do that.
Right here.
Yeah.
Time block yourself for exercise and social time.
I do that.
Yes.
And I
do
use
that now
calendar as
early
well.
in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I do too. Early in the
you?
morning. And I use Google Calendar as well. I'm not as strict with the rest of the day. I'll block out sometimes, but it could go from, okay, I'm going to write emails to I might write video scripts instead, or something like that. So that's about the only difference that I do. But yeah, I definitely block out time for exercise, and I have a very specific routine when I wake up in the morning. I do my meditation or self-hypnosis, and then I do my journaling, and then I work out, and then I come into the office. So.
So what time do you actually start working? Because I struggle with this, so I'm curious
I
to hear.
used to be really bad, but now, but now I'm usually at my desk no later than 10 o'clock, but it's usually by 9 that I try to get all the personal stuff done and get my coffee and not coffee, tea and water, and bring it to my desk by 9ish. And so I'm at my desk from 9. Unfortunately, I don't like end at 5. I'll be sitting here. I think last night I probably got up at about 8 in the evening. And that's just because I'll get into whatever it is that I'm doing. And I'm like, I like to finish things as opposed to just leaving it, because then that goes, my long to-do list that I told you about, it'll just then get added onto that. So I try to actually complete every task if I can.
Well, I have a question, kind of, because both you ladies work from home. I myself don't know that I could do that, because there are other distractions of like, oh, there's dishes in the sink, or I need to go do that laundry, or how do you, is it again that structure of setting that time of this is my work hours and I don't do anything outside of that? Or
well, for me, that was a huge struggle. And now my son's now in college, so I don't have to really worry about him. The only time that I'll take away from what I'm doing is when I go for lunch, if you want to have lunch. And that is mainly because I'm like on this 1 meal a day thing. So that's the only time that I eat. So that's like an event for me. So I take, probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours for that. Other than that, all of the other household duties, either my husband steps up to do it, or it gets done over the weekend. I just don't, I'm not concerned about dishes in the sink or other types of things that I have to do. Yeah.
That's good.
So I do it a little bit differently. And like Edie, it was a struggle in the beginning, because I felt if laundry needed to be done and I'm home, like I need to get it done. And I didn't know how to separate my time. Doing this almost 10 years now, I've kind of figured out a pattern or a routine, and I do it when I'm not working. However, I also have learned about myself is that I get bored very easily with things in my life. So in general, I need change. And that's why I enjoy what I do so much, because everything is so different all the time. I like that change. So when I am doing work or in between calls, I might do something that's very quick. So I may, for example, if I'm switching from working on one client to go to the next client, I've got like a couple minutes gap. There's really no time limit, but I might do something like, go throw a load in the wash. It takes a minute at max, right? Fold and then take them out of the dryer might take another couple minutes. And it allows me to get up, walk away from my computer, clear my head just a minute, do something, and then come back and work on the next task that I have to. So I kind of will split it up that way, and it works. But also like Edie, the bulk of like the cleaning that takes a lot of time, or things around the house, like I can't go do yard work. I'm going to come back and I'll just be a sweaty mess here in Florida, right?
Not in Florida.
Not before I'm going live. I'm not doing that. So that might be like the weekend or evening or something like that. But yeah, it's hard, especially I think as moms, which we're all moms, right? And Edie and I, both of our children they're all grown and they're out of the house, and but you've got your son home still. And when my boys were in the house still, it did look a little bit different, because now it's just not me and my laundry. Now it's their tasks and what they need done, and picking them up and running here, and you add more to juggle. So it was a little bit more challenging, but you just kind of have to figure out the groove, what works for you. The cool thing is there's no set rules, but it does take discipline.
Oh yeah, that's the discipline. That's keyword right there. A lot of discipline.
Yeah, I think the most time-consuming thing for me used to be obviously having to do grocery shopping, because I hated doing it on the weekends. That's when obviously everybody's doing it, so it's more congested and crowded. So I would actually schedule that during the day during the week. And then obviously with the pandemic, less and less people were going to the grocery store and more were ordering. And so that's what I started to do. But even that was becoming a little bit annoying because it took a lot of time to sit down, write out your list, and then you have to get onto the app and order everything. And then you're back and forth with the person. Oh, they don't have this. Do you want this? So it interrupts a lot of your time.
Yes.
So I recently started thinking, you know what? I think I might as well just go back to going to the grocery store, because at least it's, if they don't have what I want, I know what I want to pick up instead, and just, because it just really was just too annoying for me. So I'm still debating on what I'm going to do.
I use it, so I get what you're saying, but I do find that it cuts down on that time that I can be doing something else at home, and I'm letting someone else do my grocery shopping. And my son and I, because it is just he and I, we have certain things that we order almost every week on a regular basis that I don't run into too much of the problems of, well, they don't have this, do you want this? And so it is a time saver for us. And then he, even if I'm not home and I order it, that comes to the door, he gets it, he puts it away. It's great.
That's good.
That's nice.
There is certainly a convenience to it.
Oh yeah. And I love what Stephanie says about.
I was going to say,
I'm sorry, I didn't see the question.
Stephanie here. Stephanie and I, we've met through different events, right? But we actually spent time together and went to go get lunch last week. Yay. What turned into lunch ended up being like 3 hours. Like,
I'm so jealous.
I know, it was. I loved it. I loved hanging out with her and talking with her and learning about her and her business. But I do like what she said right here, like you, Kelly, right? That she does the same thing that I do so that she can stay focused, but she pays someone to do the general cleaning. But here's the thing. She said, so I don't resent the house that I work in. Right. I never thought about that, but
that makes sense.
Wow. It makes a lot of sense. Now I'm thinking back, I'm like, did I resent the house I work in? Like, did I ever feel that where, I know that there's times where I do like having an office outside of the house as well, but I go back and forth with that because sometimes I'm like, oh, it's wasted money. I don't really need it. And then other times I'm like, well, it's nice to be out somewhere,
right?
Get away from your home. And maybe it's because of that. Maybe, maybe there is
I've never done that. I've never had it outside of my home. So I don't know what that feels like, or whether I would. Being here in New York, I don't want to have to schlep anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's not like, it's a tropical day and there's a wind blowing, no, it's, you never know what the heck you're going to go out there to. So
that's true. New York is a lot different than here.
Yeah. I'm actually quite comfortable doing it here, but I don't think I resent where I live. So, but that's an interesting perspective, because that I could see how that could happen. I think it totally makes sense to pay someone to clean for you.
And if you've got a dedicated room, because I know in my house, I wouldn't be able to have a dedicated room for an office space because I live in a tiny little home, and it's being utilized for other, the rooms that we need them for. And so I wouldn't be able to create a space.
Yeah. And I created a space. Yeah. I'm in our second bedroom, which typically was my son's room. He's off at college, so he's only here for short periods of time. In fact, as soon as this call ends, we're driving up to go and pick him up for the summer break. So it's split in half. Half of it's my office, and then half of it's, where he sleeps.
When he visits.
Does he know how lucky he is to have a bed to sleep in when he comes to visit?
Exactly. Yes, he does know that, because I've drilled it into his head enough.
Good.
Yeah.
I like Diane's comment though about my watch reminds me to get up, because that's what I do too. Mine reminds me when I need to move. So I make sure I actually can clock a good amount, not like 5,000 steps, but I can do like between 3,000 and 4,000 steps just in the house with just getting up and, because I force myself to get up. I don't sit at my desk, and I have a desk that I don't do it as often, but that rises. If I want, I can stand at my desk as well.
I do too. And I think that if you work from home, then it's definitely something to anywhere. Anybody who spends a lot of time at their desk. I think standing desks are
regardless
great
of whether you work at home or not.
yeah, it doesn't really matter. But if you are
Yeah.
at your computer a lot, or I
And
love it. I'll go up and down all day.
That would see in my previous job, I would have loved that because I worked in a small retail shop and I was at my desk doing graphic design or working on things or emailing, but I was the constant contact for the customers as they came in. And I would have loved to have had a stand-up desk because I just not having to get up, get down, get up, get down. Because that happened a lot during the day like that. But yeah, so that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to just come up with ways to keep your body moving and to try to stay as healthy as possible.
Absolutely.
And so that
I just started sharing my office with my Peloton. I just bought a Peloton before I went on vacation.
Did you hear that their stock is like plummeted 26% or something like that today, and that their monthly fees are most likely going to be rising?
I saw that. I did see that. I heard that. And I think I got an email about it of when it's going to increase, which I wasn't happy about. But you know what? If I'm using it, and there are a lot of things, then I'm okay with it. If I'm not using it, then it's a waste of money.
Right.
But I am enjoying it. And it's funny because Jason, my husband, loves to, mountain bike downhill. So he kind of indirectly made fun of me without making fun of me about it. Because he's like, so where'd you go today on your bike? I'm like, it was amazing. I went all over the place, but now he's on it too. Like he uses it as well. And we did take the bikes out, our real bikes out on the beach yesterday, or no, over the weekend, and went for a ride on the beach, which was a lot of fun. So I'm trying. I'm trying to stay active.
That's good.
It should be easy for you guys there in Florida. You don't really, outside of hurricane season, you don't.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty.
It definitely is. I will say it's a lot easier. We have a great downtown around here. So walking around downtown is just awesome. And just walking around in the nice weather, there's always something to do around here to stay active. So yeah, without a doubt, it is a lot easier here than it was for me in Ohio. Right. So I agree
lots of trails, natural habitats and things too, the springs, lots of outdoor activities. It's really, it's beautiful.
And how far are you guys from Orlando?
45 minutes.
Oh, okay. So you're in Central.
Just depends on traffic. Like when my son was like, well, how long is it going to take us to get to Hollywood Studios? And I said, well, Google Maps says an hour, but it probably took us an hour and 45.
Oh, wow.
Traffic. I mean, it was probably like more like an hour and a half. But again, with traffic and certain parts of the interstate, people just, they stop. And it's like, why are we stopped? And then you go past where the stop was and you're like,
that happens here in New York too. So it's probably because there's so many New Yorkers down there. Just
there are a lot of New Yorkers down here.
Yeah, I know.
I see New York plates all the time. I kind of laugh about it.
I shouldn't slam my people.
No.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll slam them for you. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I love New Yorkers. I do. They're a lot of fun. So what are some tips? Because I know we started the conversation on when you go away on vacation and just coming back and staying organized, or even like, what can you do before you go on vacation
to
stay organized? Because we're coming into the summer and people are going to start booking vacations.
Right.
And it is. And I said this earlier, it's like this double-edged sword. It's great to get away, but then when you come back, it's like you've got this pile of things to get done. You've got so much more to do. And for me, there's like no such thing as a real vacation. Like wherever I go, my laptop comes with me. And
really,
honestly, I don't have anyone to really be that person, like the eyes to make sure that everything is still running smoothly. I'll get my work done so I don't have to actually do it. But again, it's like that fear of something goes wrong and they need me. then I bring my laptop. And that happened one time. Actually, I was on vacation in Florida and I was in St. Pete. And one time a site went down and I got it back up. It was fine. It was just this, I don't even remember what caused it. It was something with the company. They all went down. Their servers went down.
Okay.
So I was trying to figure it out and get solutions and get them up. And I'm like, yeah. And thank God I had my laptop with me. But
Right.
I do. You don't bring anything with you when you go on vacation?
It depends on where we go. This last trip we went for a speaking engagement and we were filming the event as well. So I traveled. I have a desktop, so I can't travel with my computer. But my husband will usually travel with his. And interestingly enough, I did get a request to edit a video really quickly while we were in transit. So at each hotel, because we took like 3 or 4 days to drive to Texas. And so at each hotel, I just worked on it, completed it well before I got to Dallas. So that worked. But in March, we went to Iceland and I took nothing. He didn't bring anything. So, and we were only gone for like 5 days. But I knew when I fly internationally, with the exception of Canada, I used to take my desktop computer with me.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And that was because
You get funny look at the airport.
Because we drove.
Oh, you drove. I'm like,
And
you see bringing it
my
for
husband's
TSA.
family. Well, I used to have those all-in-one HPs.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's what I would take. And so we were there for about 2 weeks. We drove and we were staying with family. So it wasn't like I was, and they had great internet. So it wasn't going to be a problem. I literally could work from there. So that's what I would do for years. Every year we would go up there. That's what I would do. Other than that, when we fly internationally, I don't take anything with me. I don't know what's going to happen and what's going on until I get back. And that's how it was when we went in March. We went to Iceland, and that was another trip that I highly recommend to everyone. It was extremely relaxing. So I think when I go away and I'm like calm and relaxed, and it could be this new, method that I have of meditating and doing self-hypnosis and all of those things that have just really calmed me, that when I come back, I'm rejuvenated and I'm ready to go.
Yep.
I don't feel stressed, or I don't have a lot of things piled up that I need to do. I'm sort of, my attitude about things are a little bit different. So I think that benefits me.
Interesting. I like that. Now, when you go away, do you tell your clients you're going to be going away so that they know they're not going to be able to reach you during that time?
Yes.
Do you have anybody watching your business for you if anything crazy happens, or no?
No, because there's nothing, if they needed a video, they've gotten the video.
Yeah.
Other than that, if they needed to get a coaching call or consultation, that's either happened or it'll continue when I get back. So there's nothing that I do that's pressing. Yeah.
I may have to try that on my next trip.
Yeah.
I'll just I don't ever say anything because I bring everything with me. So I feel like
that's your problem.
Yep. I was just going to say, you've got to be able to schedule time for yourself, because what was it that even Diane said? You got a time block, even sometimes social and relaxation, because if you don't, and you're constantly carrying that with you, it's constantly on your mind.
You got to shut it down. Talk them in advance. Let them know you're not going to be available. You're going to be gone from this date to this date. This is the day that you'll be back taking calls, doing whatever. You're unreachable, blah, 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 whatever you have to say.
My next getaway will be in July when we go back to Montana. So I'm going to try it. I'm still going to bring my laptop, but I'm going to.
That's your hip. Yes.
I'm going to. Just in case, right? It's like removing like the the pacifier or whatever.
Right.
That's funny.
But I'm going to get everything done, which I typically do anyhow, but I will let them know. And to tell you how it goes when I get back in August.
I think it'll be fine. It will be fine.
It probably will. You're probably right, because normally things don't happen. They really, really don't. But it is like a security blanket. It's like you know, and I don't, you know, you're both absolutely right. I don't totally decompress because
Right.
I'm still checking, I'm still making sure
Right.
things are done, I'm
Right.
still looking at social media engagement and answering
Yeah.
messages and, you
Yeah.
know,
No.
just at different times. But
Yeah.
yeah, all
I
right.
I
All right.
unplugged
All right.
so
I'm up
much.
for the challenge.
Yeah, I unplug so much that I don't even, and we've spoken about this, Deanna, that, you know, we kind of stepped away from some certain social media platforms. I don't post anything on social when I'm away or if I'm doing
I don't
something
either.
that's non-business. I don't, you know, oh, I went to this great restaurant. I don't do that either. I just completely remove myself.
Yeah.
My
I
husband
I
still does, but I don't.
I don't typically, if we're my husband and I are both away, I don't post anything because I don't want anybody to know that we're not home,
Sure.
right? Because
Right.
oh, please go rob my house because we're out
Yeah.
of state.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I've never understood that.
I
People will
don't
be like,
post
"I'm at the
anything
airport."
until I get back, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh," and then people are like, "Oh, were you just in?" And I'm like, "No, that was like a couple weeks ago."
Mhm.
But I won't, you know, but I will take pictures for content
Right.
and share that,
Yeah.
but
Oh, yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
How about
but
you,
I
Kelly?
don't.
Any tips for before you take a vacation of what you can do to just prepare yourself?
I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've taken a vacation and gone away,
Well, there's your problem.
Yeah, you
Well, you know,
know,
we did have a pandemic for 2
Well,
years.
that's
yes.
all right. All right, whatever.
But even at the little bit of time that I do stay away or I'm not here for a couple of days, it's just making sure my desk is like we were talking about before, you know, it gets cluttered. And then it might be like that for 3 or 4 days, but before I leave, I want to clean that off so that when I come back, I sit down and it's a fresh start and
Right.
everything's tidy and it's in
Yeah,
its place. And it's like, okay, where's my pen and paper? What do I need to do first?
right.
You know,
Yeah.
just and that kind of a thing. So just starting by, you know, finishing everything that needs to be finished before you go so that you're ready to start back with a clean slate, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice.
Yeah,
Really good advice.
yeah.
All right, ladies, I
Mhm.
just want to say thank you. I know we're right around that time
You're
to
welcome,
wrap this
my
up.
dear.
So we will on that note. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
This was
you.
so much fun. I love just learning and chatting, and I've learned some things that I'm going to try to implement on my own. Everybody who's listening in and who commented, thank you so much for joining us today on Tuesday Talk, and we'll see you next week. And if anybody
Yeah.
wants to come on and be a guest on here, and just there's no script, okay? Nothing is scripted.
Mm.
We just we just talk. So if you're cool with that, shoot me a message. Let me know. Would love to have anybody on who wants to come on. And you don't have to be just a woman. I know it's mainly women. Oh, we did have Brian. We did have, or Billy.
Oh, that's right.
Billy came on, yeah, a
Oh,
couple weeks
okay.
ago. So, which was pretty cool. But anyhow, we will see everybody next Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
Very good.
Yeah.
Bye, ladies.